Welcome back to my favorite 3 subscribers. Today we start working on the foam mock-up. In the last episode we started planning the rough shape of the case. Today we're gonna start making the mock-up with the orange foam. First thing I'm gonna do, cutting off a strand to use as a measurement. This is going to help me determine the maximum width of the case. The widest point of the knife is right here, so I'm going to use this as a baseline. I'm not going to go too tight. So this is going to be where the first line of stitching will be. That way, whenever I take out the knife, the blade can still fit quite easily in there. Now let's cut this over here. Give ourselves a little bit of room. There, we have the maximum width of the case. So, let's start by cutting a rectangle. This width. I'm going to use it as a guide. I'll make my rectangle longer than required. That way I have enough room here to make my belt loop. Might as well go all the way. Okay. Let's start by marking the center line. So I have 13 centimeters. That means the center is going to be at 6.5. This is going to be where the crease is going to be. I'm not too sure how well this foam is gonna, I guess, crease over once I fold it. I don't think it's gonna retain its shape. I have this tool here. It's called a burnisher. I usually use it to make creases in paper. So I'll give this a try, see if it works. Hopefully this is going to crush the foam just enough so that I can retain the crease to help me out with drawing the shape of the knife. Yeah, it's not too bad. Alright, so let's cut it to the right length. Let's give it a try to make sure that it covers the whole knife. It's not a problem at all here, we're good. Give ourselves a bit more room here. So this portion here is going to wrap around the front. That means my belt loop has to be on this side. I know I don't want the case to go up any further than here. So I'm going to give me a little bit of room here. I'm going to proceed with this cut. Like this. Now I can go ahead and cut this excess off right here. Can you tell I don't know what I'm doing? Let's go ahead and mark the widest point of the knife so that I have a reference point. And I'll move it down a little bit just to make sure I have enough wiggle room over here. This is going to be the widest point of the sheath. Now let's see what happens when I fold this over. The stitches closer to the widest part will go right here as a starting point. That way I have enough room to slide it in and out. I have quite a bit of stretch on this foam, so I'm not sure how accurate that'll be. But we can use this to determine where the stitching will be for the top part. So let's just, I'm not sure which pen is going to work best. About the same. Let's make this a straight line where the stitching will be. We'll go ahead and reproduce the same thing on the other side. 1.5. Actually, we probably don't have to make it on the other side. So this is the point where the stitches are gonna start going in closer to the blade, and that's gonna act as a stopper for the knife to stop in the case. That way it'll limit the chances of the blade cutting up the threads that are all along here. Hopefully. Hard to believe that we're already at 15 minutes. Let's try to hurry up and draw these lines. Feels like we have plenty of room. Like I mentioned in the first video, I'm going to double the stitches here. That way the sheath is all one straight line. I don't want to have that big indent in here. So we'll just draw a line quickly for the other stitches. Then we can start cutting the foam. We'll give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room here, so we're not too close to the stitches. This. Now let's go ahead and transfer this over. Have to end the video here, but for sake of testing, I'll see if I can staple this along the first stitch line. Just as a test. Not working very well. That's better. Now we can test to see if it actually fits in there. Wow, I didn't realize this knife was so magnetic. Not too shabby at all. Alright, so next episode we're going to be cutting off the the belt loop. This one is turning out to be a lot longer than expected. So we'll cut off the belt loop, make sure everything's lined up with the stitching, and maybe we'll look into finding the best method for stitching the leather. Thank you so much for watching.